So the third characteristic, I guess, that I've heard you talk about is that innovators need a sense of urgency. Now, is there a dichotomy here? Because over here we say you got to fail, and it's going to take some time. That means, but then you also say that we need a sense of urgency. Help me understand that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a huge sense of urgency here. I mean, I often say, the 21st century is incredibly exciting. I feel so fortunate, to be part of it and to try to contribute and to make a difference in it. But I mean, let's face it, we wasted the first decade, right? We've got serious challenges in front of us. We have a huge opportunity and all the technology we could possibly imagine to help us solve these problems, right? But we've got to, with a greater sense of urgency, begin to move towards some of these experiments and some of these new solutions. The old systems of the industrial era in the 20th century are not going to work for us in the 21st century. And playing at the margins and trying to tweak them is not sufficient. We need to transform them, and in my view, the only way we're going to do that is if we learn how to experiment at the business model and systems level. So we need the conditions in order to make that happen. I don't know about you, but when I drive by our local public schools, right, or I see the challenges that we're facing in healthcare, and as baby boomers like me, get older, and worry about whether there's going to be a viable healthcare system, that's going to be able to support us, it seems to me that there's a sense of urgency around that, and we really need to get on with it. We need to do it now.
Yeah, without question. You answered my follow-up question there about, where does that sense of urgency come? And what I'm hearing you say is that societal, within our society, the needs in education, the need in healthcare, the need in terms of energy are just so great that the clock is ticking. There's a sense of urgency to truly find the way to transform those for long-term solutions, if I hear you right, Saul.
And if you're not driven by societal needs and you don't feel a sense of urgency for that, then we should all feel a sense of urgency for another reason. The way things work today aren't going to last as long as they used to. Right? They just don't. I mean, business models, if you're an organization, what worked for us in the community or what works for us as individuals just doesn't work as long anymore. I mean, in the 21st century, things are changing much more quickly. So if we don't learn how to reinvent ourselves and our organizations and our communities, we're going to get left behind much more quickly than it happened in the 20th century. I mean, you can already sense that. So there's a selfish sense of urgency for us to stay relevant as individuals and companies and communities that really didn't exist as much in the 20th century.
You bet. Just yesterday I sat down at dinner, Saul, with my son who's about ready to start his career after graduating from the University of Wisconsin. We talked about the need to always keep learning, if you will. Yep. And one of the things we talked about is the number of patents that are continuing to rise exponentially. That just goes to your point that the change is coming so fast, and what is working today will not be the solution moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I often cite the mantra of my friends John Seely Brown and John Hagel, who, as you know, wrote a really fantastic book called The Power of Pull, and they very simply say the goal is to get better faster. Yeah, that's it. All of our goals should be to get better faster. And what are we doing every day in order to get better, to be on a steep learning curve, to put ourselves in more uncomfortable positions, to try more and different things? I think this is going to be with us, from here on out, and we have to get a lot more comfortable with that.
You bet. With all this, with all these challenges and the sense of urgency that we need, Saul, I still hear a high level of optimism. Even though you mentioned that, we've wasted the first decade, I just sense and feel and hear, this sense of optimism from you. And I think that leads towards this fourth characteristic of innovators who need to find purposeful joy. Yeah. That's very interesting to me, purposeful joy. What do you mean by that? And Can you give us an example or two?
Yeah, one of the reasons I love hanging around with innovators is because they are optimists.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how bad things are around them, they maintain a sense of purpose and a sense of optimism that things will get better. And they're not like the deers in the headlight, that get blinded by everything that's going on around them, and they do it in such a joyful way. I've often said passion, is really the secret sauce for innovation. I mean, we do as individuals what we're passionate about doing, and you see that in a lot of innovators that just bring great joy, to their work, and we have to figure out how to capture that and how to become more joyful in the work, that we're doing, and to bring our passions more to the forefront, in the work that we do, because we're going to get much better solutions, and it's really the only way that we're going to change some of these seemingly intractable challenges that we have.
You bet, Saul. And you had mentioned John Hagel's book, The Power of Pull, and they do a great job in that book talking about the importance of passion, I think.
Yeah, it's a fantastic book. It's a must-read. It really is one of the better books that contrast the model of the 20th century and the new model of the 21st century, and what that means for all of us in terms of the change that we need to go through.
Yeah, without question. Just great insight, Saul. So, if we kind of put a bow around everything that we've talked about, if you don't mind.
Sure.
There's a lot of challenges in front of us, right? But we're optimistic that we can make a difference. That, if we bring that strong point of view, if we are vulnerable, if we have that perseverance, if we bring that sense of urgency, and we find that passion, and which leads to that purposeful joy, which really drives us to become part of the solution. I guess, Saul, the last question I have for you is, if you had a chance to challenge every single one of us to be a part of the solution, to become part of that innovation community, that will make a difference. What would you compel us to do? I mean, you live with this every day. What would you compel us to do, bud?
Well, my mantra is connect, inspire, transform. That's the mantra of our work at the Business Innovation Factory. So connect, meaning innovation is a team sport. We have to collaborate. You can't do it yourself, and you can't do it with just the usual suspects, the people you always hang around with every day. You have to collide with unusual suspects, the people you don't interact with every day, because the real innovation opportunity is in the gray areas between us. We have to break down these vertical silos that we have. Changing these important systems is only going to come by thinking and acting more horizontally. Inspire goes back to the discussion we had about passion. I mean, let's do what we're passionate about. Let's find people that share our passion, and let's connect in purposeful ways, because if we do that, we can change the world. I mean, we've seen that in Egypt. We saw that with Occupy. We saw that with the anti-SOPA crowd. I mean, these self-organizing groups, these purposeful networks are still in the early days, right? And watch out when these networks really figure out how to be more purposeful and to create the change that all of us want. It's a very exciting time. And then lastly, transform. I mean, we've got to get beyond tweaks. Tweaks are not good enough, right? This is not about incremental or marginal change. It's about learning how to be more transformational. And the only way we're going to do that is if we become more experimental and we try more stuff. So connect, inspire, transform. That's the BIF community mantra, and there's a set of principles, underneath that we all live by.
You bet. And Saul, I know that on September 19th and 20th of this year, you're having your 8th BIF Business Innovation Factory Summit, and man, I don't know what took me so long to get to your 7th one, but you've got a raving fan for life, and I came away from there with the inspiration, having connected with individuals, to truly come back, and we're in the process of transforming our business model as a result of being there, Saul. So I truly appreciate that opportunity. Can you just give the listeners here just an overview relative to what BIF 8 is all about, and
Sure.
and what we will experience by attending.
Yep. Sure. Yeah, thank you, Dirk. We're thrilled that you were there last year, and I know you're planning to come again this year in September. BIF 8 is an innovation junkie dream. I mean, there are 400 innovators from around the U.S. and around the world now. We get people coming globally for a total immersion, 2 days of just deep immersion into stories of innovation. We don't have speakers, we have storytellers. We have storytellers that share their personal stories of transformation. They represent every aspect of our economy and our society. And what we're really doing is creating an environment that enables those random collisions of unusual suspects. Over the course of the 2 days, the chemistry amongst the 400 participants, is absolutely amazing. We look forward to it every year. If you get a chance to go to one event, I would strongly recommend to your listeners that they look at BIF 8, come to our website, businessinnovationfactory.com. It's prominently displayed there. And it's 2 days that you will never forget. You will get very practical and tangible ideas that you can bring back to your organizations, and you will make connections to people that you would not normally hang out with and not normally be able to exchange ideas with. And to me, that's what the innovation process is all about.
Absolutely, Saul. And as you said, man, I was there last year, and I encourage everybody to go. And I hope our listeners let both me and you know that that they're going to be there, because we'd love to collide with all those individuals and learn. Hey, Saul, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate the insight. And as I know, this innovation is in your DNA, and you all out of Providence, Rhode Island are just doing great work, not only for those that you're partnering with, but you're tackling the big problems, man. You're tackling healthcare, you're tackling education, you're tackling energy, you're tackling the need to create jobs through entrepreneurship in this country. And I just have so much respect and am so appreciative of the things you do. And I'm just very, very proud to call you a friend, and I really appreciate you being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Dirk. Thank you so much. It's a collaborative process, and it wouldn't happen if it wasn't for connections with folks like you. So I really appreciate your interest, and look forward to seeing you at BIF 8, my friend.